Boh, per me era morto per un attimo. Boh.
Rob probably talked to us better than I do, but
No, you're spot on, Ed, and I actually think both Bill and Steve. Look, there were other people in the first 2 or 3 years of Xbox, senior leaders inside the company, who wanted to kill it. I mean, that's not new news, right? We were losing a
this is
lot of
true of
money.
every project
20 e
Microsoft ever
Yeah,
did.
55 su Italia 1.
we were losing a lot of money. Wall Street wasn't happy about it. People thought Microsoft was going
Quindi,
under.
ricapitolando, se io adesso
Bill and
faccio
Steve, once they
così.
got on board at the beginning, were incredibly steadfast about it. And to Ed's point, I think it was the fact that it was so big, it was a chance to break through.
I would also add, I mean, I think it's different today when you look at the company of Microsoft in 2021 versus 2000. And it's important to remember back then, I've
Non
always
mi fai
looked at
togliere manco...
Microsoft as a platform company, and we
Non mi
focus
fa togliere manco
on
questo.
platforms like Windows
Ok, mi sta sfuggendo
and
qualche cosa
we
allora.
look at the Xbox business opportunity as another one of those platform wars. That Sony, if you remember, had incredible success with the PlayStation 2. And I think a large part of the company's strategy was we just could not cede the home territory to Sony unfettered, competing in that space. And that's why another reason why Bill, Steve,
Vabbè,
and the
credo che
company
non ci basta,
were
non c'è più
willing to
voglia di
make that
giocare.
investment because we just needed to go compete with Sony.
I think you're all
E
back to
questo è
full
per
screen.
metterlo, io lo voglio togliere questo affare.
So Ed, did you see particular challenges that were like totally surprising to you, or like challenges that maybe were just underestimated at the very beginning? There?
Yeah, I mean, I think we were all super
Non
naive,
lo posso
which
rimuovere.
is
Quindi ho
kind of
solo
a good
sprecato
thing when
spazio.
you're going into
Bel
a
meme.
project. If you knew all the troubles you were going to have,
Ah,
you probably would never do anything. But yeah, I think the biggest thing was that we had never made a console
vaffanculo.
game, right? And now we're going to make a console and a whole lineup of console games in less than 2 years. I mean, it was super ambitious. And
Questo
fortunately, we
ancora non lo
had
posso
this
costruire.
near infinite amount of resources. So you'd think that would make it possible to do the impossible, but it just made it somewhat possible, I guess. We made a bunch of bets, and one in particular really came through with Halo. The hardware barely came together in time, as I remember it. There were a lot of moving pieces that just kind of had to come together. And I think actually, when you take the net of it, we did pretty well on that first launch.
Look, there were challenges everywhere. I mean, we didn't have a supply chain. We didn't have a real retail sales force. We didn't have an operations team. Our best hardware at that point was the Microsoft mouse. We had some PC games, but no console games. Xbox Live didn't exist. Broadband was just getting started. I mean, I could go on.
Other than that, though, it was all
I could go on. I could go on for a long time. One thing Ed didn't mention, which I think was particularly impressive and really changed the industry in a huge way, is the bet on Halo wasn't just the bet on Halo, a game from a company called Bungie. It was a category bet too. First-person shooters were like unheard of in the console space. I mean, there'd been like
Ah,
one that had been successful at that point.
Quindi
But
hanno
Bungie was a
scommesso
console business company.
sull'FPS che poi è diventata
And
la
so
merda che
that to
conosciamo
me was a
nei giorni
transformative
nostri. No.
change. And kudos to Ed, Shane, and
come
the
scusa?
Bungie team. But that was a really transformative change. And I
Stanno
didn't
raccontando la
understand that
storia
when
dello
it happened.
sviluppo
I
di
had no idea
Halo,
that we were not only betting on
di
a
come
content
erano
company, but
sicuri.
betting on the ability to create an entire new category on a console. That was,
Stavano memando
to me,
Per un attimo credevo
new territory.
fosse uscito qualcosa di
Well, it
interessante.
validated
Uff.
whether or not Halo could be
ok.
successful on Xbox precisely
Right.
because of that, because they hadn't been done. And then Halo's impact also, like you say, can't just be measured in terms of its success as a game franchise, but Halo in terms of driving multiplayer on Xbox Live when Xbox Live launched as well was, significant. So when we joke that content drives hardware and software on platforms, it's not really a joke.
Cosa serve questa merda? 40 e 30. Ok.
Was there a pivotal moment where you thought, hey, this might actually work out?
So, yeah, there is, and it's a weird moment for me to identify because it's not like something something special, some game did well, or we sold a bunch of units or something like that. But it was the E3. I'm gonna get the year wrong, but I think it's 2003. Might have been 2004. Electronic Arts agreed to join Xbox Live. Everybody forgets that at the beginning, Electronic Arts wasn't on Xbox Live. And so I'm standing on stage with Don Matrick and all these sports athletes from EA Sports, and then Muhammad Ali comes on stage. And I know that's a weird thing to identify, but somehow people walked away from that, in my mind, saying, okay, these guys are here to stay. And that made a lot of things easier. And I know it wasn't the fact that Muhammad Ali was on stage, but it's just such an iconic moment for me that's kind of burned into my memory, and I won't forget it.
I'll say, since we're picking strange moments, and Ed was gone at this time, but it's not the best moment in our history, but when Xbox 360 had its technical issues after its launch, and the company stepped up and provided at that time an unprecedented warranty, and the Xbox 360 survived and in fact thrived after that. I mean, that's the real Tylenol moment for those of us old enough to remember something like that, where a brand can survive
Ma come?
and actually really come back super strong. You forget that Halo 3 did not
Perché?
launch until 2007. So
Perché?
after the launch of
Che cosa
Xbox
perché?
360, and still Xbox 360 was able to
What
get
are you
off to a great
talking
start
about?
there. I think once we survived that, I think certainly I felt very confident in our
Vaffanculo.
in a big
Thank you for pointing out I had nothing to do
Same.
with the Red Ranger. Sometimes that gets brought up, and I have to change the history. So, for me, honestly, it would be launch day of the original Xbox. Up to that point, E3 that before that launch was pretty bad. Early reviews of Halo were sketchy. Wasn't clear that the hardware was going to make it. I mean, it was a lot of things, and to see everything come together, to be standing there in Times Square with Bill Gates, and watch him give away the first Xbox, and it just kind of almost magically everything came together that night, and it really felt like this was the start of something big.
And lastly, I have a quick one for Robbie here. Robbie, do you see Microsoft's gaming strategy
Reggi filsemi
versus the early days of the
Pisces.
Xbox?
Yeah, I think it's actually changed quite a bit. Microsoft has become more of an enterprise place since we left, and
Che
yet
cazzo.
gaming is more important there now than it was when we were there, I think. And so I think that's an interesting dynamic. I think Satya looks at Phil in the gaming business as people are kind of out at the cutting edge of technology, and
Oh, what the fuck?
driving new trends and new ideas, and those ideas can come back and help the rest of the company. So, in many respects, I mean, he's not, maybe he'll watch this, I don't know, but probably not, but who knows. Phil deserves a lot of credit for shaping what I think now is a really great business for Microsoft. And, Phil worked with Shane and Ed and learned a lot from them, but I think he's put the business in a very good place.
Well, thank you for the reunion, everybody, and we'll have to do this again in either 10 or 20 years.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Thanks, team.
All right.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
So much.
Alright, so even though we are still this far out from the Xbox conference,
Look at you with your papers here.
I'm
Oh,
a professional.
official.
We still haven't talked about Hades coming to Game Pass.
Oh,
We
looks
still
so
haven't
good.
talked about Stalker 2. I didn't hear anybody talk about Shredders. There's just too much information.
So
the
much.
Ascent being shown again, which looks dynamite and dope, and I can't wait for it.
Yeah.
What a conference that was.
Yeah.
It was so much. It was. I thought Xbox delivered. Like
100%.
they came out and also.
Ma la tizia ha i tacchi o è proprio più alta di sti due di natura?
Lel, mi sa
Like I was like, okay,
mi
there's
sa sono
something
scarsi
there. I
loro.
appreciate that.
Ma come stanno a Dio? Io penso che Xbox abbia dato la migliore conferenza finora. Sì, sì, sì. In quale universo?
Take it away.
Wait, wrong show.
In quale universo?
I just want to say, guys,
In che coso di Halo lì?
made
Madonna, che cringe.
We know you're a fan.
That samurai Spartan suit.
We of course heard you screaming. We of course saw you talking
He
on
cried
the
a little
camera.
bit, yeah.
We have the reactions. They have the reactions ready.
Cue
to
it up.
see. These are not
Yeah,
canned. This
that's
is
me.
legitimately happening. This is
Yeah,
how he watches
yes.
the show.
Aw, Avi.
There's
Avi
Amelie.
Sean.
Stuff too. Then back to
Battlefield. Oh, I was so excited for Battlefield. Yeah.
Look at you, a kid on Christmas morning. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
But did you see the? We
I
didn't
could
even.
just watch
You went through all your notes. We didn't even talk about
I'm
Battlefield.
telling you,
We
that's how
didn't.
dense this
There
show
was
was.
so much.
Questi che urlano mi stanno a rompere i coglioni in una maniera incredibile, tra l'altro.
Yeah, that was hype too. That
Prendo
was a
di
great moment.
bullshit che devo vedere.
Imbecillità proprio.
Yeah, man. That's the reactions you want, right? Especially not having live.
Un meteorite completamente a random che mi sputtana più della metà delle batterie. Io non c'ho parole, vaffanculo.
Sì, con l'L, perché non posso dire LOL.
Vaffanculo, Germano.
When Ewing Chronicles came out, I mean, the man was yelling at the top of his lungs. He kept yelling about how he's he financed it on Kickstarter. Yeah. He just kept talking about Kickstarter. It felt like he's finally getting his money's worth. You know, he was a happy guy.
We were talking. Oh, sorry.
On top of all the games stuff we showed, then they snuck it in at the very end, which pissed me off, but I'm glad they did it. The Xbox Mini Fridge.
Yes.
The Xbox Mini.
I was behind this on Twitter. I'm one of the reasons we got enough likes, or they won the Twitter competition.
Yep.
Thanks to me retweeting it, and now we are all going to be able to give them our money.
Taking credit for it?
I put the Xbox Mini Fridge on the map, and you need to know it.
As a proud owner of an Xbox Mini Fridge.
Oh, how much did you pay for it?
We're
How much did you
flexing
pay
here.
for
Actually,
it?
it was sent to me by my good friend Dwayne The
Back
Rock
it up.
Johnson.
Put the sword down. You're making me a little scared. Now, I don't know if I should have given that to you. Or
But it was really, it's an awesome fridge. So you guys are gonna love it. But I already have it because I'm famous.
Yeah, he's just a little
I'm
flex
famous
there.
because my friend The Rock sent it to me. What's up, DJ?
Are you aware, because of our video yesterday, Ryan Reynolds followed me on Twitter today. So.
Wow,
Okay,
really?
can we all stop flexing?
He
Cut
didn't
him
follow
off.
me.
Cut him off. Cut
He
him
was in
off.
Fantastic Four.
Okay.
He didn't tag you on purpose.
Wow. Jack, you want
Do you think he would have followed you after that comment, though?
I probably
Come
would.
sarebbe a dire 29 Concrete?
Stalker 2, another game we haven't actually
Sentino una sass.
Honestly, I thought it was
Ah, volete che lo avvicinate più?
Apocalyptic world. When the guy was dancing alone to that creepy music box, I was like, I'm here for this. Like, I just
Meglio
want to
così.
see more. So that was definitely at the top of my list. I
Se almeno ci mettete meno tempo. Coglioni.
Couldn't agree more. It was amazing.
Meno noni.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's how we're getting things started. Xbox, your time is over. It is, ladies and gentlemen, 9 minutes.
Come on.
17
All right, I'm going.
seconds.
We're going.
Wait, but this is the wrong brand. Wrong brand.
No, this is my moment. This
sorry.
is me
My
as
bad.
an Avengers fan. There's no lighting there. Don't worry about it, everybody. It's getting there. We're doing it. It's about time. When we return, ladies and gentlemen, sqenix takes the spotlight. Stick around to find out what's next.
Okay.
Le journal c'è.
As a part of Play For All, GameSpot will be bringing you the latest gaming news and announcements, interviews with developers, the biggest press conferences, and more. Play For All is our yearly online event that combines the excitement and announcements of E3 with charity live streams the following week, with lots of special guests who are going to help us raise money for able gamers. So join us in June for E3 and Play For All on GameSpot.com, YouTube.com/GameSpot, Twitch.tv/GameSpot, and as a part of E3's official.
Ancora pubblicità?
Sì,
Noia.
già.
篝火营地是中国领先的游戏媒体，创立于2018年，致力于为全世界的中文游戏玩家提供专业、精准。
Ancora ste cose cinesi di me.
篝火营地立足于中国，
Konnichiwa a sto cazzo.
内蒙合作关系，源源不断地将最新鲜的影视资讯第一时间带给全球。
Gli sembrano cinesi a sti stronzi.
在全网的内容浏览量已经超过5亿。
E se ti dicessi che sei tu cinese?
我们的愿景
Con i
是
permetti.
游戏文化传播者，
Io poto.
可以在全球各大手机应用市场下载篝火营地 APP，
Cazzo, le compro a fare le risorse che poi devo buttarle per riparazioni idiote. Ah, Madonna. Mm.
Le...
Mm. Mm.
Square Enix. Sì, fatelo iniziare. Dai.
The Kingdom Hearts franchise is my favorite franchise of all time.
Square.
The Kingdom Hearts Far From
Reason why I started to become really adventurous in my own life. Tomb Raider, I think, became a symbol of who I wanted to be.
Bitere or B square. Ah 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 ah.
I remember him being really excited at the T-Rex in Tomb Raider, completely spoiling it for me.
Gli manca questo. Un'unità di concrete e diversi metalli. Ok, 25 metalli. In realtà
Minchia, di
24.
tutti i giochi,
Questo è quello
Kingdom
che
Hearts 3 è stato il mio più grande hype. Ma certo, ma per favore, dai.
5, 10. Vedo pulsante.
I would just like rage quit and like pop out the disc and put it back in again.
When they showed the Final Fantasy VII with new technology, to see it reimagined in such a perfect way was amazing.
The remake in general is stunning, which again, it's a Square Enix game, not shocking.
Welcome back to
Io che mi sto rompendo il cazzo di sti comandi.
E3expo.com/shop where you'll find all the limited edition shirts, hats, and jackets you've seen me modeling throughout the presentation. Deadheads. Up next, of course, is Square Enix Presents. Guys, what are we looking forward to most, and why is it Marvel's event?
Oh my goodness. I mean,
Cioè, questi stanno aspettando Marvel's Avengers. Che tristezza. Che tristezza.
Perfetto così.
Ma mi ha crashato il meme? Hello?
Sì? Ti è crashato il meme.
K. Belle queste connessioni.
I didn't know it was going down there. It's like Michael's coming in here really hot. Okay.
Chi è che mi ha scritto?
Boh.
We were talking about Marvel's Avengers, right? A little bit there. Yeah, I was like, okay.
In general, yeah, of course.
This show, I'm just like,
Ah, è LOL che fa vedere le mie sclerate.
you know what? I'm starting to understand.
Le tue sclerate.
So yes, War in Wakanda.
Yep.
Totally aim for that. We saw a little bit of an art reveal yesterday.
Sure, yeah, new look at Black Panther, right?
Yes.
So far, all we've had is a teaser trailer at the last time they had done one of the Square Enix Presents or whatever, so that's nice to see.
Ma the fuck?
So we won't go any further with it.
Yeah.
Excited for more content. I need to see what the end level stuff is. They're calling this an expansion, right? It's not like the episodes we've gotten for Kate and Clint. So what does that mean? How big is this going to get? But then, of course, another one that speaks directly to me and I want is Life is Strange True Colors. I love Life is Strange. We have a brand new one coming up this September. I can't wait to see what that's all about.
Yeah, Life is Strange True Colors, that like hits very close to home for me. It's obviously about a woman dealing with the loss of her brother. And what I absolutely love about that series is that they are bold and they're like, okay, we're going to confront trauma. We're going to confront self-work. And then they somehow turn it into this beautiful video game that just absolutely hits you to the core and the feels. So I am definitely psyched to see more about Life is
Grazie per aver esplorato Life is Strange True Colors. Tizia coi tacchi.
Colori veri. Sti gran cazzi di coso su.
Sì, vabbè, lo sta a dire per me male, cazzo ne frega. Non giocate il 2, figurati.
Cazzo è sto cesso?
21 e 15, quindi mo dovrebbe cominciare.
Ladies and gentlemen, what are you excited for? It's
What
super
are
simple.
you
Hashtag
excited for?
E3 2021 on the social medias. Shout it out there. Tell us what you want to see. We're getting closer. 2 minutes to go. That's the exciting part right here.
Yeah.
Do you think there is going to be Xbox Halo? Square's going out of their way, right, to say these are the games we're showing, which is great. You manage expectations.
Yeah.
Microsoft just came out like,
Eccolo,
hey,
1 minuto e 40.
games
C'è.
that we have that
Anche loro hanno messo un timer per un altro timer, mi pare di capire.
Un timer.
Lel-
It's the timer, the game, the game timer,
The game
chiamarlo a
hour.
sto giro, altro che Game Awards o E3.
Some high quality games as they usually do.
L'E3.
I think it's going to be a great you know, palate
Ah.
cleanser, if you will, from
Sì.
what we got, from like the overload
Hello?
that we got of the Xbox.
Ah, ok, sì.
What the fuck?
Niente, il gioco mi ha sputtanato le orecchie, non stavo capendo perché.
Lì.
So when you come in with a smaller roster like Square is,
Allora,
it really
piazzalo
is.
qui.
Do you like Marvel? Do you like well, if you don't like these things, then maybe we're not for you.
No.
I mean, you know,
Get
for marketing
resource.
strategy, they might be like, hey, this is all we're doing, and
Yeah.
we might see more.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, I'm definitely in the camp where I like being kind of like, let us, you know, like what's
sure.
coming, what
Yeah.
what are we going to see? So they have been a little bit tight-lipped, but and they're like, hey, this is the docket, but we'll see.
Who knows?
right?
Anything's
Who knows?
possible. It's E3, baby.
Yeah,
It's
E3, baby. Who
People
knows?
do lie to us at E3 quite
That's
a bit.
right.
And so if
What
they have something
are you
else
talking
out there,
about?
I'd
There's
be
one
all
thing I've learned is that E3 is a place for deception. It's like
Yeah.
it's like an Among Us lobby before Among Us was even a thing. So that's you know.
That was a good comparison.
Thanks,
There you
guys.
go.
Appreciate it.
Okay, I guess
I'm smart.
Here we go. Look at this.
I'm smart.
Oh, we're 16 seconds out. Okay, all right, ladies
Okay.
and gentlemen.
Perfetto.
Now,
E ora
without
puoi
further
piazzarlo.
ado,
Eccolo.
here's Square Enix presents.
Eccolo.
Sì.
Save game. Save. Donna puttana.
Rating pending.
Rating Penguin.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Matt Mercer here, and I'm back as your host of
Ah già,
Square
devo
Enix
riabbassare il
Presents.
volume.
Today we have a special E3 edition of the show for you, with new game announcements, updates, and exciting news from our studios across the globe. So let's kick off
Square
with
Enix
the world
presenta
premiere of
se-
a brand new game from Eidos Montreal.
Perché sto stile alla persona
Hope you
5
enjoy the
qua?
show.
Pure il font per la persona 5.
L'unica cosa di... il font è l'unica di Persona 5, il resto no. Il resto mi dava più di YouTube Gaming.
Eidos Montreal,
Wow.
stavo per dire coso là, Deus Ex, e invece subito non è Deus Ex.
Cos'è? Rift Apart? No? Guardians of the
Marvel
Galaxy.
Dio... Madonna.
Gardeners of the Galaxy?
Andate a cagare, va.
Rocket. So
I let Drew
fill out the paperwork.
So we got fined. We appear to be 6,963 units short. I know, we clearly need a plan.
I need a hero. Questo è copyright istantaneo, tra le altre cose.
Ah, chi se ne fotte. Rip.
Ok. Ok.
Ok. Volevo vedermelo il film di questo.
Non avevi soldi. Eravamo...
A parte i soldi, ma poi una certa stronza immonda chiamata Marta per raccontarmi una stronzata sua e di quell'altra, ma è arrivata a spoilerarmi una cosa che succede. E io dico vaffanculo.
Raga, questa roba io l'adoro. Questa
Sì?
cosa sì. Assolutamente.
Richiamatemi quando sarà interessante sta roba.
Ah, non voglio.
Boomer, questo lo è interessante.
Infatti,
Escici
questo
70 euro e lo
Jason
supporti
G.
se è interessante. A me me ne frega un cazzo.
Beh sì, no, i soldi, cioè, il denaro quello ma...
Appunto, vedi?
I guardiani della galassia mai dire no, allora. Mai.
Non lo so, ho visto il primo e mi ha dato la noia, quindi...
Non mi è piaciuto. No, anche il 2 che bello. I Calibro. I need a hero.
Hi, my name's Olivier Cool, senior producer here at
Bello quel fondo strano.
For the past few years, we've had the privilege to work on our version of Marvel's Guardians of the
Ma perché
Galaxy
hanno fatto
and
biondo
reimagine
questo?
it into a single-player,
Perché
story-driven,
nel fumetto è
third-person action
biondo.
adventure game. It's our own fresh take on the Guardians, and something that's really unique to our game is that you get to be Peter Quill. As Star-Lord, you're constantly in the middle of the action as you try to lead this band of misfits. But today, I'm really excited to have all of you join us on this journey, and you'll hear more
Oh,
about the
finalmente
game
stanno
from
facendo
our
vedere
team
cose
behind
neat.
this project.
Right, let's do this. I've always loved Marvel's cosmic characters. Growing up as a kid, I read them, enjoyed them.
Una cosa per cui andare hype in questa E3.
Marvel on some of their cosmic titles. I went back with the help of Bill Roseman, the editor, and kind of
Vorresti dire che non ti è piaciuto il mini frigo dell'Xbox?
No.
Ah, il tuo meme game week.
And that became the Guardians of the Galaxy
Shut
comic,
the
which we
fuck
loved working
up.
on.
I remember the first time that the Marvel crew came to Montreal, we were showing them the design of the characters, how they would look, and they stayed silent. I don't know if it's a minute, but in my head it was a minute. I was like, oh my god, like they hate it.
We realized how much that Marvel and Idols Montreal share, have in common, and that we knew the Guardians were in perfect hands.
Looking at the samples that Idols were kind enough to show me, I think he's fantastic and absolutely in the spirit of what these characters are.
What makes the gameplay experience unique to me is no matter in what phase of the game you are, whether you're in exploration or you're fighting, the Guardians are constantly around you and you never feel alone. While you're the leader, the Guardians will also challenge you and make decisions on their own, and you will have to adapt to it.
You are literally part of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
The decisions you'll make will have lighthearted to hunting repercussions, and the game will react to what you do and say.
Gamora, no killing teammates. Chill. It's literally in your contract. I made no such commitments.
You are playing as Star-Lord.
Comunque, best boy è Rocket.
Star-Lord is really empowering. He's very agile on the battlefield. He can slide and over with his jet boots. Of course, he has his elemental blasters that have different powers as well. And on top of all of this, he can use the unique abilities of his guardians.
We're not pirates. We're legally incorporated heroes for hire. Gardeners of the Galaxy? No.
Perché fallo biondo? Ma...
The story is about a group of misfits, the Guardians. In our world, we've been together for less than a year.
Sono abbastanza sicuro che nei fumetti sia biondo.
Dici?
Quantomeno basandomi su quello che ho visto prima, sai. Poi lo sai che nei film tendono a cambiare cose a cazzo di cane. Quindi può darsi che lo sia in realtà biondo e allora hanno detto ma sì, facciamo che diventa cambia colore a random. Un po' come che cos'era l'adattamento, cos'era? Cosa di Netflix? Dei Teen Titans dove Stella Robbia diventa negra a random.
No, gli adattamenti di Netflix non esistono. No. Io non dimenticherò mai quella merda che ho visto su... come cazzo si chiama? Su Death Note, ma che è quella merda?
Oppure coso, Deadpool nel film di Wolverine. Tu lo vedi e dici no, quello non può essere Deadpool.
Mamma mia. Leone, basta! Ci hai giocato oggi abbastanza, adesso basta! No! No! Mo poi una ciabatta,
Ma scusami,
bella
mezz'ora di
cosa.
sta cosa è?
Ratchet Clank. Ratchet Clank a random.
Non ho visto, no! Che mi sono persa?
Niente, c'era scritto premi start e vedi loro che stanno fermi così, mi sta a ricordare all'inizio dei Ratchet e Clank
Ah,
2 con Ratchet che sta al coso a giochicchiare.
Ma.
ah, ma stanno facendo vedere i gameplay adesso?
Dico solo ma.
Cioè, oddio, cazzi.
Sì, sta PS2 Graphic stanno a far vedere.
Ma perché dite che PS2? Non è fatto tanto male, dai.
Ma.
Più o meno, oddio, come animato sì.
Niente, Rose, se a Crash non gli interessa non c'è modo di fare, c'è niente da fare.
Guys, I think we should hear our group for once.
È più
Groot.
bello da piccolo, Groot.
Qualunque cosa che non è un essere umano è più bello da piccolo.
So Groot, I guess we could bust him out after. Absurd.
A scelta comunque.
Small ugly one is clearly the good choice. He's cruel, sadistic, and his soul is filthy and filled with rage.
Ma quindi cosa stiamo vedendo? La Square Enix?
Yes.
Ed è la Square Enix questo?
Quella è la cosa più strana. Possibile che ci abbia pensato Square Enix a fare sta roba?
Appunto.
Well, Rocket's definitely scarier on the inside. He's unstable and vicious and totally oblivious to the needs of others.
Okay, we get it.
All right, let's do this. Let's go sell a monster.
We're not seriously flying into it.
They say the weather patterns of Seknarf 9 are tied to the temperament of his ruler.
That's not how women work.
Oh, weather?
You're flying the wrong way.
Nah, he's not flying at all.
Guys, relax. Just one minor adjustment.
I ever mentioned how much I hate rain?
This castle isn't even that far.
Tonno, sempre streassa questo.
È lì. È quello il modo in cui devi fare le cose, sclerando. È l'unico modo. Fidati di uno che sclera
Tanto
sempre.
si fa, ma è così, Rocket. No, effettivamente il gameplay è un po'... Un po' forse il pianeta.
Non sta succedendo nulla al momento, come fai a dirlo?
No, è l'animazione, è un po'...
Guarda, è meglio questa di quella che ho visto finora in tutti gli altri trailer.
Assolutamente.
Che può essere fatta meglio, quello è possibile.
Esatto.
Sembra preso da Just Cause, che non era male, però allo stesso tempo... Già vedi, già si è vista lei fa un qualche movimento strano, poco fa.
Appunto. Comunque si vede che sono abituata all'adattamento del film. È andato quattro zampe, dai! Sei andato a pigliare proprio la piattaforma sbagliata, idiota. Ah no, mi sa che l'hanno presa tutti? What? Ma se avevano preso un'altra piattaforma quegli altri due, what the fuck?
Evidentemente sono cascate pure quelle.
We should have gone to Maku 4.
Ma che cazzo è?
I would be wary of it.
You know what? I survived freaking Half-World. I think I'm scared of some little...
Chi stava per ammazzare? Cioè, come cazzo ti permetti? Ah, puoi fare... Oh!
Oh, mi dà molto di Mass Effect la cosa di far attaccare i compagni in quella maniera.
L'effetto dell'esplosione è un po'
Sì, quello era molto fatto col culo. Bella sta faccia a Random qui.
I'm not saying it's an arrow with the word fortress on it, but statues suggest civilization, and the only settlement I saw...
Mi sta che... hanno fatto il gioco praticamente sui primi 2 capitoli del film anche.
Ah, boh, questo non te lo so
Sì,
dire.
perché ancora non incontrano quell'altra.
Questo proprio non te lo so dire, anche perché io non l'ho
No.
visto. Non ho visto
Non
il
ci
film,
sta
non ho avuto modo.
non ci sta quell'altra che praticamente entra a far parte del team dopo. Quindi sì.
Fine, just curl up in a ball. What? Drax, throw him. No. Very well. Peter. It's okay.
No.
Yeet!
Non mi fate questo Rocket, dai! Poello, che ha fatto?
Come on, man. Fix the bridge and we'll raise your cut by 5%. I want 10. Okay, deal.
Ok, deal.
Thanks for the bridge, Rocket.
You even think of pulling that shot again?
Hear that?
Guys.
Ancora.
I got it.
Ecco.
Oh. Ah,
Vai.
bello, mi è piaciuto.
Questo un po' meno. No, almeno sto facendo vedere i gameplay questi, dai, su. Vabbè.
Da.
Rispetto agli altri giochi
Cos'è
che
sto mega lag a random?
la diretta.
Molto stabile.
Non lo so, mi dà molto di gioco che lag. Almeno per un pochetto ha laggato. Ah!
Is anything on this planet not trying to kill us? Guys, huddle up!
What the fuck?
Already missing the jiggle jellies. They keep moving around. It is past time.
What the fuck?
Don't get too close to that mouth.
This guy barely feels it.
Sta canzone.
Vabbè. Ha bisogno del ritmo giusto, I guess.
That is definitely in my top 10 fortresses.
Peter?
Aren't you forgetting something?
Oh, right. The cage.
When did we even get into Flarkin? He was looking. We mean business.
All right, Rocket. Time to put on your monster face.
I only got one.
Bella sta gabbia.
Sure about this, Peter? Look at him. You better have one hell of a sales pitch.
Come selling Groot? Ma cosa?
Selling Groot instead.
Really?
This is an affront to democracy. I just think that we might need Rocket on the outside for this one.
Ma come cazzo ti permetti?
Yeah, we noticed. You want to make that call, then you better not mess this up.
Leone!
You hang tight there, bud.
No!
When the time comes, I'll get you out of there. Rocket style if I got it.
Drac. Gamora, can you help me with this? What? Why?
To guarantee your safety as a leader.
Oh sì, è partita la canzone, dai. Tan, 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 tan.
Remember, buddy, menacing, like me, only bigger. Not bad, not bad.
Mi serve sta canzone.
So, how long before someone else wants to pull this thing? You're 60 clicks from the fortress.
I'd say closer to 75. You got
Calla, oh, bravo. Queste sono cose belle.
Rip quel tizio.
20 minuti solo sta roba è un record.
No, almeno è meglio della roba che hanno fatto vedere fino a mo'.
Preferisci
Oddio.
vedere ancora una volta Sable?
Sì.
Ma vaffanculo, non capisci un cazzo tu. Con quelle canzoni.
Sta chitarra, mi serve ancora più chitarra.
Bonjour. No, questo non l'ho mai vista. Questo penso che sia
That you thought you could rob me. Dweller, feast upon them!
Oh, i tentacoli sono sempre un brutto segno.
Ottobre 26.
Roba.
Now we're going to revisit two iconic brands that are being remastered for modern platforms. First up, relive the classic games in the Final Fantasy series, and then get one more peek at Legend of Mana ahead of its June 24th launch.
Pixel Mastered. Nani?
Madonna, cara.
Voglio Boris Default. Ma che seccoci veramente, pa?
Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Mi arrivo su
6.
Ma voglio vedere
era
quanto
ora,
dura.
voglio dire, dopo secoli ce l'hanno fatta. Questa è Legend of Mana.
Nani? Un po' di anime vedo. Vedo un po' di anime. Legends of Mana.
Legend of Mona.
Mona, esatto.
Up next, Earth's mightiest
what?
heroes continue
Ah,
Altro?
Avenger del cazzo.
the latest updates with you, including new mission types and a growing
Black
roster of
Panther.
heroes.
Ci hanno preso un po' la mano con gli Avengers.
Stanno cercando di far vivere sto gioco che era morto tipo all'uscita. Ok. Understandable.
Lascia.
Every second counts, people. Keep it moving.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Ma che vende?
Uff.
Shutting you down, Monica.
The world doesn't need it. AIM will save it. I will save it.
There is no end to this growth.
You don't understand what you
You don't understand. Questa è noia però invece. Alleluia.
Alleluia, lo dirò quando finirà sta seccatura. War for Wakanda.
Un altro, basta.
No.
No, invece no.
I applaud your efforts to connect with your roots.
I applaud your efforts.
As a man who has seen 3 Black Panthers fall,
Black Panther. Te
I
pare?
must warn you of a few things. Many eyes follow the path you are about to walk down.
Il mio ex sta esultando.
It is Claw.
Rip.
Sì, sì, mo te la dà, aspetta,
Vibranium doesn't belong to you. Alright. Vibranium does not belong to me. It belongs to Wakanda.
Now it's time to give mobile players a quick look at some of the games that will be available.
Mobile, no, ma...
LOL.
Good evening, 426. Our intelligence reports a new threat to global
Che Hitman Mobile? Hitman Mobile, no.
Ma per cortesia, no!
Following Agent 47's
Agente
disappearance,
47.
you were selected because of your remarkable skills. Execution
What
must
the
be
fuck?
perfect. We will strike from the
Ma che?
shadows.
Do you
No,
guys not
perché non
have
ti sei stato
phones?
zitto? Perché non ti sei
Qualcuno nella
stato
chat
zitto?
scrive Do you guys not have phones? E ha ragione. Non mi di Nier sul telefono, ma mi fai sapere per il culo.
No. Quando fai no.
Ma andate a cagare, va.
Uff.
The order of flight returns to hard drive. Da fuck?
Ma tipo fai uscire quel poi default del telefono che è uscito solo in Cina? No? No, No. Vaffanculo. No, what the fuck?
Ci sto capendo un cazzo.
Non ci sono
Manco
più un
io.
cazzo meno io.
Oh, Shinra. Cos'è sto robo? No.
Mythical. Final Fantasy?
Sì.
Sì, però... Che cos'è?
Final
The
Fantasy.
First Soldier.
Che
Cryos
schifo.
Android. Madonna.
Che schifo veramente, oh.
Today, the team at Platinum Games is giving you an exclusive look at the epic world of
Babylon's Fall! Vai cazzo! Babylon's Fall.
powerful weapons and a unique art
Ma stai
style.
calmo.
Finalmente un po' di roba seria.
Vai, sì. Non so cosa sia.
E mo si vede, mo si vede.
Built over 1,000 years, it was meant to be a tower of
Tower of Dream.
Alla torre dei sogni.
but for
E le
1,000
mani.
more, it was seen as a tower of ruin.
Perché si vede
Quando
così?
scommettiamo che tra 10 minuti già avrà distrutto di nuovo?
Persevering through fire and ice and the coldest of winds, eventually the tower became a symbol of unrelenting ambition. That tower's name is Babylon.
Babylon. Non è morto finalmente.
Does the savior of Neo Babylon stand among us? Let's find out without further ado.
Che voce c'ha quello?
Già, quello mi stava a chiedere pure io. Perché si vede così sto gioco però?
Sembra un po' lento per essere un gioco di Platinum. Ah, sembra il motore di Nier Automata nerfato alla grande. Perché? Per pompare la grafica che nemmeno esiste più di tanto.
Sto guardando una conferenza.
Dove, qual è la grafica? Scusami, io
stanno
vedo
provando.
tutto sfocato. Porca puttana.
Beh, hanno sparato la fog a 1000, che ne sai? Loro.
Dove sta di da telefono, madonna?
Che?
niente.
Oh!
Cosa?
Sentivo liriche così da Ace Combat.
Amen.
Bello.
Sì, ma mi stanno a foccare le palle.
A me mi stanno a bruciare gli occhi perché si vede male. Non capisco perché si vede così male.
Now begins its tale of both hope and despair.
Aspetta.
Ah, pure su PS5.
Beh, grazie al ca. No, devo per interview pro, no, dai, basta.
Ah, pure questo. Beh, mi sembra
Oh,
giusto.
oh, buono.
いつの間だろうちょっとだ。
Vediamo pure Yoko Taro?
Sicuramente. Quando slash.
Junichi!
E Yahara.
Haya, haya.
もちろん一人でも遊べるんですけど、4人でダンジョンを攻略していくゲームになります。
コンセプトについては、プレイヤーが、
Kinji Saito!
アクション、
最高！
追い求め続けることができると。プレイヤーは、ストーリーを追いながらダンジョンをクリアして上層を目指していくと。入手する装備や素材を集めて自身を強化してカスタマイズしていくと。ゲームのスタイルとしては、オーソドックスな
Sao o no Sao?
ただアクションがスキルや強い力を引き出すためのトリガーになっているところがポイントかなと思っています。プレイヤーの背中についているビデオコピーというのがかなりキーアイテムとなっています。それによって遊び方とかカスタマイズの方向性っていうのも変わってきます。
ハイファンタジー感というか、その上品さというところはすごい意識してくれっていうふうに言われましたね。
やばい
何よりも本当に存在している人たちが
Dio per questi concept, è tutto di carino.
Yeah.
Ah, titolo live service, ho perso l'interesse. Bye bye.
Wow, un attimo fa eri mega emozionato.
Sì, guarda, prometteva, poi boom, live service, mi hanno ucciso live. Complimenti. Che cazzo,
Babylon's Fall.
Senti
Vedere sono state le palle, le ma...
Bel meme.
Now recording for
Let's check
beta.
out the next major entry in the popular Life is Strange series. True
Ma-
Colors. The team at Deck 9 is ready to give you a deep
La vita è strana.
psychic power of empathy.
Cos'è sto momento blu qua?
Remastered collection.
Oh no. Ah, che palle.
After 5 years, you're still Max Caulfield.
Era bello il primo, la storia era bella. Ma dopo che hanno fatto i 2, i 3... E poi deve uscire un altro, basta, che diamine.
No, questo è il primo remastered. Peccato che si vede comunque uno schifo se è questo.
Appunto. Ah no, wow, è cambiato
Tantissimo cambiamento.
Hanno oscurato, ok.
Hanno
buono.
oscurato, sì, hanno messo... Qua è peggiorato, ok.
Mi sa che infatti è peggiorato là, what the fuck.
Lo skin con la tizia lì, come si chiamava? 16.000 word.
Oddio, come cacchio si chiama? Non mi ricordo nemmeno il nome. Ah, poi il 2 ci sta.
Beh, Babylon's Fall posso andarla a cancellare dalla lista della roba che
Ah, must play fandom.
Bastano
sì,
due
must
parole.
play.
Bastano due parole per farmi cascare le balle. Live service. Se non è gratis, se lo possono mettere in quel posto il live service. Proprio yabai totale. Ma sta host nemmeno c'era nel primo.
Oddio, mi hai ricordato che aveva anche soundtrack belli il primo.
Bello.
C'è tutto sto bordello perché non ha lasciato morire sta qua.
Lel. Yes, baby, back.
La vita è strana.
Collection solo di 2 capitoli, il terzo così cagare che nessuno lo vuole. Mi sembra giusto.
I'm a musician and the singing voice of Alex Chen in the upcoming Life is Strange True Colors.
Comunque è un gioco così tanto
fan
fanservice non l'ho mai visto,
As a longtime fan, I know I did. You can see the
Un
love
gioco?
and care that Declan
così
put into
fanservice non l'ho
remastering
mai
both
visto.
Life is Strange and Before the Storm. This collection features improved character animation, lip sync, and visuals.
Io dovevo giocarlo una volta.
Ma il
Qualche
primo è
anno fa.
bello. Il primo
No,
è da
sai qual è il punto? Sai qual è il punto? L'ho avviato, ho visto la calligrafia e ho dovuto chiudere il gioco perché mi stava venendo mal di testa all'istante, non riuscivo a leggere un cazzo. Io ho detto no, come vi aspettate che io mi metta a giocare un gioco dove non riesco nemmeno a leggere?
Non mi ricordo la calligrafia dei sottotitoli.
No, io l'ho iniziato, l'ho finito e ho cringiato tutto il tempo, per cui le mao.
Allora, no, a me è piaciuto la trama del primo. Però poi, cioè, non capisco perché. Ok, ci stava il 2 che magari spiegava un po' anche la storia di Chloe e basta. Però poi
quello non è il
il terzo
2.
e il quarto.
Quello non è
Sì,
propriamente il 2, quello è il continuo
come si chiama
dell'arco
proprio?
narrativo del primo, ma non è esattamente un 2 per come hanno scelto.
È un prequel, possiamo dire?
Qualcosa così, sì.
È un prequel perché parla della storia di Chloe prima che
E quello ci stava, però già era iniziando a diventare una rottura di palle. Poi il 2 è stata la rottura.
Poi il terzo, cioè, è Life is Strange solo perché ci sta il tizio che ha i poteri, però
Sì,
cioè,
appunto.
non
ha
stanno
senso.
esagerando, anche questa cosa che può vedere emozioni, ma che è?
È una boiatina.
No, stanno sfruttando solo il nome di Life is Strange per guadagnare. Ecco perché dico fare fanservice.
Perché con Crash, come hanno fatto con Crash 4,
Appunto, anche quello è vero. Però almeno là c'è un gioco che
fa pena.
Cioè questo sì, però
She's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
She's the best.
So please help me out.
Cioè, almeno hanno imparato a fare i capelli col passare del tempo.
Max telling you a whole lot of bullshit. Thanks for telling me the
Ma infatti perché questo si vede abbastanza bene e poi hanno fatto le master del
Quello là era dell'era PS2 e PS3, quindi era una merda. Cioè, addirittura stiamo facendo la pre-registrazione per Nier Reincarnation.
Può vedere le emozioni. Wow. Due colors.
Puoi vedere le palle. Vabbè.
No, aspetta, questa è lesbica, questa è un'altra lesbica, quindi no.
Ah, quindi non si possono vedere le palle.
I wish I were too.
No decision is easy, and the consequences will be felt across the game.
Dimmi qualcosa che non so, vedi, Life is Strange, le decisioni ci stanno per forza, grazie al
Appunto. Beh, in questo caso non puoi tornare indietro.
Novità.
Quindi se fai una scelta del cazzo.
Ma poi non è vero che non puoi tornare indietro, perché alcune cose puoi fare rewind e vedere. Cioè.
Serio?
Sì. Quando fai una
Anche in
scelta.
questo?
Ma in tutti, credo. Cioè, quando fai una scelta tipo. Sai, no? Quando muore
Ma che
qualcuno.
cazzo è? Ma allora scusate, cioè, come se è il primo che è una cazzata. Perché il bello del potere di Max è che potevi tornare indietro nel tempo. Ma che senso ha?
Non ha senso, non esiste un senso.
No, non ha senso.
Ah, Ultimate di. Cos'è web lighting? Che cazzo era qualcosa? Sì, aspetta e mo seguo sti cazzi, guarda. Ma che me rappresenta sta cosa? Ma andiamo.
Che poi ancora non ho capito il senso del suo potere. Cioè, può vedere le emozioni degli altri e poi.
Sì, le cagate, così. Può vedere le emozioni alla madonna. Pre-order now. Sì, aspetta e mo.
Oh, un fighting game ora.
Brand new trailer. Non mi dica che è Kingdom Hearts, ma non può essere così scuro. Nojima. Tetsuya Nomura? Final Fantasy 17, le mo?
Team Ninja.
Team Ninja, che cazzo è? Fa un nuovo Final Fantasy, ok.
Wow, ma ogni Final Fantasy
No, aspetta,
cambia
qua
i
è
personaggi.
Tecmo? What the fuck?
Quake Tecmo non è cosa.
Con i Tecmo mi ha sorpreso. Cioè, boh, sti spadoni. Oh, un hack and slash.
Ma perché tutti i protagonisti c'hanno i spadoni? Ma basta! Mettete la spada nel mare, che ne so, mettete la lancia, qualcosa, ma basta.
Eh no.
Ah, ecco, l'ho chiamata.
Eh no.
Ma c'è un trailer che si vede bene?
No.
Da dove cazzo hanno tirati fuori sti trailer fatti
ma
col
quando
culo?
si vede bene, non è che c'è la qualità bassa te. Cioè, ok,
C'è la qualità-
allora,
c'è
gli
la-
effetti...
c'è la qualità senti, c'è la qualità 360. Però intanto Forza Horizon 5 lo vedevo bene.
Sì, effettivamente
Cazzo.
quello è vero.
E allora, il problema sono i filtri che hanno messo su sti giochi qua.
Sì,
Sono
esatto.
troppo filtrati, tipo, non so,
Ma
nebbia.
non lo so quale cazzo è il problema,
occlusione
sembra una merda.
ambientale. Hanno
Non è
sbagliato.
che muore, lui ciuccia. Il tuo cane ciuccia, non morde, ciuccia.
Mm,
Perché ciuccia?
È fraintendibile as fuck questa cosa.
E ho ciuccia, che devo fare?
Madonna, che sonno mi sto a fare.
E non siamo ancora arrivati alle 11, Io non so come ci arriviamo alle 11. Madonna. Oh, ci sta una ragazza. Aspetta, quella è una ragazza?
no, quello è lui.
Ah, ok. E dove cazzo sta la ragazza?
Non lo so.
Non si sa.
Però quell'armatura è
Un
figa.
Final Fantasy
Fantasy
Origins.
ok.
Ok.
Questo credo che sia il gioco con più
Demo
spin-off
available
e
soon on
cazzo.
PlayStation. Cioè, veramente,
PlayStation
grazie.
5, buonanotte.
cioè, Final Fantasy penso che sia uno dei giochi con più titoli. Cioè, veramente. E calla, l'abbiamo finito a dire,
Ah sì, Final Fantasy 7 con bla 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 bla.
Ma quando ho capito c'è il DLC personaggio che mi fa ridere sta cosa.
Noi no.
Wow, Sephiroth!
Che ci sbavi dietro a Sephiroth.
Oh, Nier Replicant, Outriders.
Ah, questo qua è un bel po' di genere ci sta uscendo fuori di testa.
Cosa? The World
La
Ends
grafica
With You,
mi
vabbè.
piace. Sì.
Non lo vorrei
Bello.
prendere, ma...
The WoW
La
Ends
grafica
With
è
You,
carina.
Yes,
Lo stile di disegno mi piace.
Forspoken.
Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy. Ok, ecco
Un altro
No, no,
Final
no, no,
Fantasy,
no.
le mao.
Quando leggi Square Enix cosa pensi? Guardians of the Final Fantasy.
Ma hanno fatto vedere la stessa.
Ok, è finito.
È finito?
Sì.
Madonna
Adesso
che
penso
schifo.
Adesso penso che facciamo vedere le interviste della Square Enix e poi prendo un altro.
Sayonara testa di cazzo. Sì, dovrà passare mezz'ora prima del PC gaming e bla 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 bla
Ma non
bla
ci
bla
stava
bla.
Capcom? Mi sa che ci stava Capcom, o sbaglio?
Capcom oggi non lo vedo qui nella cosa
No?
che ha messo Crash.
No, aspetta. Ci stava un coso. Wait. Dimmi a secondo,
Un second,
Cos'è
due
che vuoi
second,
sapere?
3 second.
Ripeti per favore.
Non ci stava Capcom oggi?
Ma no.
Capcom è domani alle 2:30, c'è scritto nel coso, quindi da noi sarà, non lo so.
Bello.
Alle 23.
Alle 20.
Capcom?
No. Sì. No.
No, sì.
Aspetta un attimo.
Vado a vedere un attimo.
Allora,
Sì,
se
23:30,
se
23:30, 23:30, 23:30,
Dio cane, Dio cane.
Devi stare di cane però!
Dio cane.
Ti sto dicendo che hai ragione, è inutile che fai il coso, non rompere i coglioni. Tu hai i tuoi numeri.
Vedete che c'è... Ah no,
Oh.
aspetta, no, Capcom è domani. No, è
Crapcom è
dopodomani.
Stiamo
domani.
dicendo
Crapcom è domani.
da 10 minuti.
È domani, no, scusate. Domenica.
Crapcom è domani. Allo
E ci
stesso
sta...
orario del PC Gaming
Adesso
Show di
ci
oggi.
sta Warner Bros. Adesso.
No.
Rottura di palle
Sì.
incredibile sto
Sì. Oh, non hai messo nel tuo coso, Crash. Complimenti.
Che cosa non ho messo?
Complimenti.
Che cosa non ho messo?
Warner Brudas e la sua robaccia.
Cazzo se ne frega di Warner Bros.
Risolvo io, non vi preoccupate.
La tabella di Warner Bros non
Cioè,
è...
penso tutte me.
Non è che l'ho messa io, è la tabella di Eurogamer. Se poi sono imbecilli quelli di Eurogamer che si perdono le cose. Cioè...
Chi è che si caga Eurogamer? Chi è che si caga
Era l'unica
Eurogamer?
tabella decente che ho trovato, quindi...
Chi è che si caga Eurogamer?
Beh, perché quello giusto è quello che ho mandato io.
Quello giusto è pure quello che ha mandato Crash ieri. Che è pure più grosso e si vede qualche cosa, madonna.
Sbagliato.
They don't look like them. They don't look like, you know, what we
Va
saw
bene
in the
questo.
movies. And I understand that, but I'm sorry, Gamora's look.
Tutto.
Cosplaying that. I am cosplaying that. Yeah.
Ma...
Definitely getting a mixed reaction.
Ma che oh...
Ma che oh... Ma che oh... Ma ne mettete giù Rocket, ma come vi mettete a mettergli le mani addosso?
And again, very tough to follow up the movies. I was a little nervous. I was like,
I was a little nervous.
and I thought all the dialogue really delivered, to be honest. So.
Oddio, ma come l'ha lanciato? Ma ha fatto un'animazione stranissima.
We all know Guardians because of the MCU. And so getting into this game,
No, effettivamente è fatto
having to get in and
un
settle
po' male,
into what this universe is. But even by the end of it, I thought, because I thought at first, I'm like, man, Peter Quill's hair's kind of tall.
Vabbè, io faccio una coppetta di gelato.
I wish my hair could
Chi è che sta lì col microfono?
Ma l'ha chiuso... Non è da me per cosa sento anch'io.
No, è da loro. È lo stream.
Perché è boiata.
È allo stream, è quello il coso.
Bellissimo.
They're saying, pull your hair back. And they're like, we were talking to Greg.
They didn't say it in my ear.
I was like, oh, okay, is this supposed to be me?
Vado a bere qualche cosa.
It's a hair emergency.
Ti lascio in compagnia del tuo lutto per Babilonia lì.
With some of the big brains from Marvel Games and IDOS Montreal about the new Guardians of
Cazzo
the
di
Galaxy game. Let's take
merda di... Oh, ecco.
Di meme. Ah, stanno a far rivedere di nuovo Guardiani delle meme?
All right, Mary, Jean-Francois, and Tim, let's talk Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. How did your collaboration with Marvel come together?
The collaboration with Marvel Games came together a few years ago when we met for the first time to see that how we would create this Guardians of the Galaxy game. And what was really exciting about our first meeting and talking together is that we were sharing exactly the same vision about where to go with the game. And Marvel Games really wanted us to really embrace our creativity and give a fresh spin on this universe and explore different ideas. And it was also our wish as well, because as creators, you really want to look at the source material and bring it somewhere else and bring fresh ideas on the table. So in the initial discussions, like, we were all aligned with that. So it was really, really exciting.
Yeah, so the collaboration with between Marvel Games and IDOS Montreal came about in what I feel like as a really kind of natural fit, right? I think we're always striving to partner with the best developers in the world, and you know, and pair them with the right franchise, right? Something that they care about. We at Marvel here have always been a huge fan of IDOS and what they've done with the Deus Ex franchise, and their passion for sci-fi and world building. So, you know, when we saw how passionate they were about Marvel's specifically the Guardians, I think it just, you know, it just felt like a natural fit.
Okay, so tell us more about your original take on Guardians of the Galaxy.
Absolutely. When we started the project, the first thing that we do is really get to the source material, and in this case, like the comics,
Già,
like,
sono
there's like
d'accordo.
over 80 years of comics at Marvel and everything,
Che
and a lot of
depressione
like
ste tre.
more underground characters, more prominent characters.
A me non stanno facendo
The
vedere
first few
cose
steps were really
abbastanza
to read comics,
rispetto
and
ai
read
precedenti
comics,
giorni.
and exchanging among us
Sì,
with
cosa?
Harry,
Forza
with
Horizon
other
e
of
basta.
the crew here at Montreal, and we
Cioè,
started
veramente.
Vabbè, perché sono
solidify
cose
some
che magari non
ideas that we
interessano a
were
noi alla
also
fine.
running in collaboration with
No,
Marvel. And
ci stanno
Marvel
persone
also,
che
they were
esultano.
feeding
Basta
us
vedere
with
ieri che
ideas
sono
too,
tutti
like,
impazziti
hey,
per
that could be interesting
Mario
or
Rabbit.
that. So it was really
Letteralmente.
in that mindset that we were looking at like the source material and see what we could
The
take
source
of it, but
material.
take it,
Vabbè, su
tanto,
PC Gaming ci sarà
basta
qualcosa
che,
interessante.
ma tanto basta che c'ho il micro di Super Mario e tutti impazziscono.
Esatto.
Che quello è vero.
Then, like JF said, tapping into the history and
Ma
the
sai che
comics and
devono fare
animation
un
and
film
of course
su
the
Super
films
Mario di nuovo?
allowed us to sort of
Animato
bend
però.
and shape these characters in ways that, you know, fans
Perché
may have not
ricordo
seen
una volta
before,
io ho
and perhaps
guardato
even
il
expand
film
on
di
what
Super Mario, però
they
quello è un
may
live
already
action.
know. So yeah,
Ed era
I mean, outside of that, I think
però
we
era
also
del
have a lot of fun
1900.
with playing with, you know, well-known characters and factions like
Madonna.
Mantis or
Dire il 1900
Silverhawk,
così come se
but
fosse il
also,
secolo
you know,
scorso mi
like
fa sentire
introduce,
vecchio. Però.
characters that are newer
Madonna,
or lesser known, right? Like Lady Hellbender
Beh,
or
ormai sono
the Blood
30 anni,
Brothers,
Non
or
lo so.
even Cosmo the Dog, right? Like just diving into this
Quello è il problema,
untapped
che sono
cosmic
30.
corner of the Marvel
Oddio.
universe, and I think,
Che?
you know, the hope is
No, ce
obviously,
l'ho qua
you
col
know,
gioco.
the fans will enjoy what we put together for them, right?
So what was your main source of inspiration when working on Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy?
Obviously we're familiar with
Qual è stata la vostra ispirazione mentre lavoravate a un film basato su un gioco basato su un film? Cioè, che domanda è, scusa? Che domanda?
And from that we really got a sense of who these Guardian characters are. And what was fascinating for me is that in every
Fanno domande del cazzo perché non posso spoilerare nulla.
the movies themselves,
Già.
È un po' come con le cose di Ubi.
and yet the interpretation changes. So that
Con le domande
really
di
was
Ubi,
inspiring
già io
to
sono
know that we
pronta a
could take our
sorbirmi per
own
l'ennesima volta.
unique
Qual è la vostra
vision of these
ship
characters as long as they stay true to the
preferita?
And so then we were able to draw on personal experiences
Vero?
from our own lives
Libro.
and different source materials that we are
Molto
enjoying
XD.
ourselves to kind of see how do they blend in
What the
to
fuck?
this wonderful
Ma-
Marvel sandbox that we're allowed to play in.
Okay, so we play
No,
as
ho
Star
fatto
Lord.
creare clip.
Why did you guys
fuck.
pick that
Okay.
narrative pathway? And then, like, I guess on top of that, like, how does Star Lord interact with the other Guardians?
Becoming Star-Lord became a natural choice, especially that he considers himself as the self-proclaimed leader of the team. And in this third-person action adventure, like we just said, we control Peter, but we constantly interact with the Guardians as we move forward, like whether it's in banter as we explore, or we can use their super abilities when we're facing puzzles or in combat and things like that. So ultimately, the
Come
vision
cazzo
was
metto
to
sto
really
telefono?
put you in the shoes of one of the Guardians and
Cos'è sto
feel their
telefono?
presence throughout. You focus on Peter, you have your button for the Guardians, you summon them,
Non riesco
and
a
they will
guardarlo.
banter, they will react in
Oof.
combat. So even though we're not in a cutscene or things like that, they constantly stay alive. So the narrative or the liveliness of the Guardians remains alive all the way through. And when we get into some of the more, I would say, epic encounters or with different characters in the Marvel lore, sometimes you have the opportunity to try to convince some of those entities to side with you or not. And since Peter is the smooth talker,
Ma stiamo
he
parlando
can use his like,
di
social
Guardiani della
skills for
Galassia,
that. But the
Sì,
Guardians
sì.
are always there, and they can chip in the conversation, or you can ask them to get involved and hope to get better results. So all that to say that for us, like playing as Star-Lord and being like constantly around the Guardians and feeling
Non scordare di te,
this
Crash.
family was at the heart of what
Oggi ho ottenuto un sconto 75% di Plat su
La Madonna.
Warframe.
What is the overarching story? And who
Sto considerando di prendermi la skin deluxe di Meg. Mi sembra la scelta più giusta.
After a
Ma lo puoi usare lo puoi usare per passare cose agli altri? Non ho mai capito questa cosa.
Non credo di aver capito cosa hai detto.
Puoi usarlo per passare robe agli altri, tipo come per giftare.
Credo di sì. Dovrei controllare, ricordami di farlo domani. No, vabbè, no, per lo più la mattina, quindi dovrò ricordarmelo per cazzi miei. Uff.
And he's convinced them that there is a great deal of money and some really wild adventures to be had if they rebrand themselves and sell themselves as heroes for hire. So the team's been together for not very long. They've been on a few missions already when the game just begun, just long enough to kind of know each other, but not long enough to have really gelled as a team. And on their current mission, their kind of carefree approach to exploration as their
Quanto tempo c'avremo prima della prossima conferenza?
Tecnicamente doveva già iniziare.
No, ma che alle 23:30? Alle 23:30, sì.
No, adesso ci sta Wine.
Ma io non ne vedo Warner. C'era nel loro programma di questo canale, ma non l'hanno messa, quindi figurati. No, aspetta, è adesso.
È tra... No, 50 minuti se c'è.
Appunto.
Ma sulla scheda sta scritto praticamente un'ora dopo Square Enix.
No?
No, un'ora e 45 al massimo.
2 ore dopo. 2 ore dopo,
Guarda che cosa ti ho mandato.
Bru.
Dica.
C'è scritto alle 2 PM.
Esatto.
Oh fuck.
Non le 22.
So how do the choices and consequences affect the player's journey?
Bru momento.
Oh mio Dio, ma quindi mi stai dicendo che mi devo fare una nottata? Perché
Sì, all'una c'è Future Games, quindi lol. Devi fare una bella nottata.
Ma siete sei?
Sì.
Oh mio Dio, stanotte non dormo, vabbè, ho capito.
E se ti dicessi fanculo Future Games, ti guardi la replica domani?
Oddio, no,
E
dopodomani...
se il coso del PC gaming dura fino a quello e poi inizia una ruota libera, che fai? Non te lo guardi, scusa. Le mano. Di Marò.
Sei ma qualunque cigolio stia sentendo.
Sì, anch'io.
È un squid?
Più o meno.
È il giochino di leone.
Oh, cucciolotto.
Cucciolone. Col memoria.
Perché io devi lanciare?
Ma
guarda come corre!
Obviously, we were trying to build a very strong, compelling story.
Ma va?
And so the story
Questi hanno costruito una compelling story.
Madonna, una saetta mi sembra.
Because we want to create this really gripping, emotional journey that builds and builds into this massive Marvel superhero.
Cioè, ma questo non è un cane, è una saetta. Ti si
What
stangate?
role does music play in Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy?
The ambience in Guardians of the Galaxy was a very important aspect, and when I say that, I'm talking specifically about
Ossigeno -2.
The first one is the
Oh, giusto.
and after that is the audio
Sei morto?
experience. From
No. Oh, però potrebbe... Oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, sono fottuti. Oh, sono fottuti.
We wanted a game that would be colorful, would be like awakes your sense of wonder, discovering
Cazzo, stanno a festeggiare persone, mica un giocatore d'Italia.
different than what you experience on Earth. And we really wanted to take advantage of like when you go in some of the planets, like they speak different language and you don't understand all the aliens that you will hear through the journey, and it's a part also of making you feel like you're discovering the galaxy as well, like you don't know everything everywhere.
Ah, quindi ha avuto la sfiga di... Ah,
so we really wanted that to be colorful and vibrant. And ambience is that Peter Quill is a kid that grew up in the 80s, and unfortunately, at a young age, he was kidnapped by aliens.
Same.
And his, I would say, scheme of references is really rooted in the 80s, like music, movies, video games, all these things. And we wanted to bring that forward.
Sta migliorato di un briciolo la situazione, ma resta comunque Yabai. Mi sa che questi faranno una bruttissima fine. Ma come leak detected? Non bastano i problemi. Ma
there will be laughs, a lot of laughs, but there will also be drama. But ultimately, it was to create an experience that would stay with you with a feel-good vibe. And those two aspects are key to achieve.
All right, tell me, what's the release date?
I'm very excited to see this game come out. It's going to come out
Ah, quella lì, sti
October
cazzi di quella.
26th. And
Ma
it
ancora
is going
28
to be
geni ci
available on
stanno,
PC
mamma
and
mia.
PlayStation and Xbox consoles. It's going to be an epic ride with
Here we
lots of
go
adventure,
again.
lots of drama, and I really can't wait for you to play it.
Thank you all for coming to talk about Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. Now back to our show.
Domes with No Life Support 2. Sì, ma chi se ne fotte di quella? Tanto è priva di gente dentro. LOL. LOL. Lil. Pure.
Instead, let's get to what the final announcement there was.
Yeah.
Stranger of Paradise
Era
Final
questo,
Fantasy Origin.
I love that we both were like Stranger of Paradise
Yes.
Final Fantasy Origin. Just want to make sure we got that all in.
Poi no, dobbiamo aspettare fino alle 11. Ah,
Ma che furbo un botto di secondi.
That is a long title, and right
Qua.
media is blowing up.
Ah, no.
Again, another one with people having a lot
Eh?
of opinions. What of course stood out for me is what they started with.
Sti cavoli,
Of
pa.
course, Ninja Gaiden, you're going to have Neo. You know it's going to be this action-based combat, and that's of course what they were stressing throughout the trailer, that it's not your daddy's Final Fantasy. This is a different take on it, right? As they jump into this.
What was your favorite announcement from Square Enix? Life is Strange.
I cazzi.
Ma dai.
Babylon's Fall manco un voto, no? Ok.
Let's see how they end this thing. And oh my gosh, you heard our E3
Broken
back there.
Objects.
They were
Cioè?
hooting, they were hollering. I mean,
Ma è sballato sto coso, perché a volte vanno allo 0% queste votazioni, a volte poi sa.
And actually, we do have a poll
I was going
up
to say,
right
but
now.
what are you here for, ladies and
Non mi
gentlemen?
Babylon's Fall è
sorprende
penultimo, non mi
Your
sorprende
favorite
nemmeno.
announcement
Vabbè,
was from Square,
Hunter.
and looks like right now, look at that.
No, Guardians of Galaxy sta vincendo.
Paradise Final Fantasy Origin.
Dopotutto l'hanno spalmato 20 minuti, vuoi che la gente non piace per forza.
Remember, of course, you can vote wherever you are watching us.
No, perché è macchiato male
You put it in
veramente.
there, of course. If you want to be on the
Chi non
bottom bar,
piace
#E3
Guardiani della Galassia,
2021,
scusa?
you can
A
get
te.
on
A me.
there tweeting with
A me.
that. And if you would just compliment me, that would
Sei
go up there and
scandaloso.
really put some of the people in the
Oh,
Twitch
io ho
chat.
visto il
They
primo
don't
film
like
e ti ripeto, non
Regular
ho preso.
compliments, everybody.
Oh, sta
Ricordo-
vince
Just to talk about
Stranger of
Stranger of
Paradise, ma va?
Stranger of Paradise? Le mani.
Ma come Fuel Explosion? Ma porco di...
They are determined.
Sì, ha vinto Stranger of Paradise.
Ha
Appena
vinto
fatto-
Stranger
ma dai!
Paradise, le Mao.
Ma dai!
Hate chaos, chaos, chaos. I was like, okay, I'm here for it. I'm 100%
This is your
here for
motivation.
that.
Voglio
Exactly, but,
Ubisoft,
that definitely stood out to me. I'm really not surprised by the poll, though. There were a lot
Yeah.
of great titles. As we talked about in the beginning, they were deep diving so hard on these titles here. So
Deep diving on a lot of the titles. Not on Marvel's Avengers, though.
Oh my gosh, you're right. I was kind of like, I'm.
Oh my god!
I really thought we were going to get,
Madonna,
you know,
che
War for Wakanda
cringe
expansion.
assoluto.
Here's a look at what the gameplay will be.
I thought we were going to get a gameplay.
And we got a
reveal,
great.
yeah.
I enjoyed the setup.
Ma è bello che
cinematic
cambia
they
di
used, of
continua
course, Black Panther
conduttore e
facing off against
conduttrice.
Claw. The fact with the narration that I've seen through Black
Poi si
Panther.
fanno
Se
pagare
ricaricassi la cazzo di
Cioè
partita.
non ce ne sta manco uno visto, cioè ci sta questo e sto tizio qua.
But I was looking for more in terms of what
Questo aveva presentato un anno FIFA là, EA.
Ah.
FIFA EA.
I mean, we love how it looks.
FIFA
You know,
EA.
I have absolutely adored
Dio
the costume. I thought
stronzo.
the teaser definitely got me.
Crash.
But I will totally agree with you there. I was hoping we get
My hope, of course, is
Cosa sono ste parole? Cazzo.
social channels because during the presentation they didn't put out dates. They showed the roadmap, showed where they've come with Tachyon Anomaly and everything else, but they talked about Cosmic Cube, showed us going up against Scientist Supreme from the main game, and that actually has a date, June 22nd. That was announced on Twitter after the fact. And the same thing for War for Wakanda. Didn't mention when it's coming, but on Twitter they confirmed August.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping more and more information about it will be dropped that way. For the fans like us, or me, no, I'm not going to drag you down.
You can throw me in there.
No,
actually,
you don't know nothing about Wasteland Patrol.
Hold on. Avalie and I actually hosted a Marvel's Avengers launch event together.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how many 150 characters you got right now?
Okay, all right. Just flex a little more. He and Golden Boy all about the flexing. Who's got the Xbox mini fridge? How many characters?
We don't talk about that, all right? But yeah, then they showed more Wasteland Patrols.
Yeah.
Again, that's cool for me. I like the idea of being able to team up with friends and just go. If you're not familiar, you just go through the Wasteland, random boss fights, different things. There's gear you can only acquire there.
Sembra che stiano parlando di
They're on
Borderlands.
track with the roadmap, which has been Marvel's Avengers' early problem, right? Like, of course, Kate and Clint were supposed to be there in what September. It was September, so in October and November they were supposed to be here, and that got way pushed out to December and then this year for Clint.
I'm a little sad. I was really hoping something big for you, Greg.
You know what? Again,
it was okay. It was a taste of it. It was a taste of it. Yeah.
I think one of those things is that, and I shouldn't say universally because it's the internet. Most people like the Marvel Avengers campaign to some extent.
Yeah.
So they've taken the learnings and they just want to give us more of that with the Black Panther expansion, of us playing through and being Black Panther. I'm okay with that.
So you're happily intrigued.
Of course. Oh yeah, this doesn't do anything for my excitement. No,
Yeah.
I'm still totally there. I am excited. I would like to know if anybody can hit up Square and find out, does Life is Strange Remastered have new trophies? Because I wouldn't mind replatinuming those games.
It looks great.
Yeah.
I loved seeing the remaster, and we got an in-depth look at True Colors too, some interviews. So I'm here for it. Life is Strange, yay! But
again, it's one of those
we're
things.
just chatting away.
I know.
Here. We got to get the E3
Babylon's
crew in
Fall,
here.
we had all the stuff, the mobile games, the Final Fantasy, what they call it, pixelated
I wish you all
thing
could see
over
the handwriting on here, by the way, too.
That's journalism school in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen.
Ma scusa, questa qua assomiglia non è ai Justine, no?
Golden Boy has to say. Golden Boy!
La tizia?
Sì.
Man, talk about just sucking all the air
Non è che
out of the
sottofondo con la
room,
faccia
Greg
uguale
Jeez,
da
every
false,
topic we
quindi sai.
have just grabbed
Non
away
è che-
from us. It's not fair. Now, folks, this was the part of the show where we were going to give Michael Hyam from GameSpot here an opportunity to monologue about Babylon's Fall. But unfortunately, Michael is having second thoughts. So, Michael, hold my hand. And how do you feel about Babylon's Fall, Poppy?
Oh man, I think you know, I set myself up. You know, I was like, you know, I'm just, but it's okay. It's all right. You know, I still want to give you know, a chance. Platinum Games has a great history, great history. You know what I'm saying? Bayonetta, you know. The thing is like, oh, maybe this is the next thing in line.
Beato lui che ci vuole dare una seconda chance a sto gioco.
Yosuke Saito, my boy, Yosuke Saito's on the project.
Say your pain. Say your pain, Poppy.
And then it's like, oh, it's a live service game, and it's endless, and we didn't really get any narrative bits.
Ma che so che è sti due?
You know,
Esatto, vedi, ha sottolineato le cose che ho pensato io. Live service
L'ha sottolineato?
e non hanno mostrato nessuna cosa narrativa, quindi sì, bel meme.
Cioè, hanno detto proprio loro che sono gay? E hanno detto loro due che sono gay? Zitto qua?
Non ho capito cosa hai capito tu, ma sei fuori
Non sto
strada.
capendo niente.
Platinum Games. Madonna.
Can we all just hold hands for Michael here? Come on,
fatta?
damn you as well.
Non ho capito un cazzo.
Platinum gay.
Ah, no, ok. Si stanno tenendo tutti le mani, ok. Siamo in sei.
Babylon's Fall was interesting, but I will say this much. I don't understand, Damon, the mixed reaction regarding Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought it looked fantastic.
My reaction is not mixed. I'm with you.
Same, bro. Molto same.
I am a single player gamer, so it's a single player game.
Ci stiamo tenendo tutti per mano.
Scusa, era un single player game quel Guardian of the Meme? Lo sai, stavo dormendo durante quel segmento, non l'ho visto.
the Guardians of the Galaxy
Non
aren't
ancora
ensemble
basso
cast,
sul
if
gioco,
people
mo.
are sort of
Le-
hoping they could pick a character to play as, or even play cooperatively with other people. I get that part of it too.
Yeah, well, don't worry, folks. That is what downloadable content is for.
Oddio, a partire con che
Dan,
odio.
let's speak of things that weren't present at E3 because, or at least in this particular keynote, because, you know, obviously we're looking forward to a lot of good things that's going to be coming out. You know, obviously we saw a little bit of Final Fantasy 16. We saw a little bit of Forspoken. Maybe we'll get a bit of Triangle Strategy later on. But then there was this final thing with Strangers of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origins. Obviously they don't like chaos.
Yes.
They're not a fan.
Chaos is no longer on the menu if they have anything to say about it. They are coming in hot. Like, if you were to drink every time they say the word chaos in that trailer, you would be dead before you reach the final boss. But it would be worth it because it looks awesome. You have that pedigree of Team Ninja, Koei Tecmo. It looks super fun. It was just like, it feels like this weird mixture of like a Souls-like with Final Fantasy, and that is something that's really exciting because
Scusa, un Souls-like con Final Fantasy, what the fuck?
that we've seen in recent Final Fantasy entries. I think they can have a lot of fun with this.
Come,
And
scusa.
again, you know what? I've had enough chaos for quite some time.
Non l'ho
I'm beginning to
capito.
see what they're talking about. I'd like to Omni/Chaos into a million little pieces myself.
Here's the thing, sure they don't like chaos, but they really like just tearing their enemies apart.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Brutal.
the face or the mouth, and they're just...
He really likes going for the mouth.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and just shoving some red stuff in there and then, you know, like...
I can't tell, is it like when they stomp on them the crystals appear, or are they putting the
I don't know, but I'm going to play the game and find out. I mean, we're seeing it right here in the footage.
Yeah,
it's
right.
quite aggressive.
He's trying to figure out the most efficient way to get the crystals, and usually it's just ripping it right open like a bag of chips.
Well, that's
and then
what I
just
was
reaching
thinking.
inside.
You know, I had a DoorDash order yesterday. That you see that plug? That was, you know, just a little. That was a little. You know, the bag was closed.
Sì, non abbiamo capito che vi hanno pagato per pubblicizzarvi DoorDash, non l'avevo ancora capito. Mi serviva che lo ripetevate altre 10 volte così lo capivo.
Lots of other really cool stuff with Life is Strange True Colors.
Come sei duro di comprendonio però devo dire. Ci stanno dovuto rivedere più volte. Uff.
Like I'm not that like a narrative player, but I always appreciate what games like that bring to the medium.
Oh yeah, I mean, Michael was talking about, I like games that make me cry. Like Life is Strange, the original game had me like on the floor going like, I'm never gonna trust a teacher again, or like all of my friends, I'm gonna hold all of my friends near and dear to me. And something that I was bragging to Dan about was during the game, there is a moment where you can attempt to save a friend from a situation. And I managed to do that, and apparently like no one else was able to do that. And so all of these interesting experiences, they hit home.
They hit hard.
So with the
Ah,
new,
stava per
one
spoilerare
coming out,
un
True
bel
Colors, where
pezzo di
Alex
storia
Chen has
dell'1
like the
quest'altro.
psychic ability to feel other people's emotions, I feel like that's going to
Già, a quel punto voglio vedere se riesce a farlo con successo. Se ti era la voglia di giocarlo.
Che cosa?
Ha detto che il fondo ti ha dato fastidio.
Exactly, all to try
No,
to
sulla
figure out
F-Stage
what
c'è una cosa che è piuttosto complicata da fare. Non so se te la vuoi sapere perché.
Parlamene pure, tanto non penso che lo toccherò mai quel coso.
Tienete, c'è uno che si vuole ammazzare tipo, certo.
Oh, è lei, la storia della mia vita.
Se tu sei stato attento a tutto quello che ha detto, riesci a salvarlo. Questo
credo.
Io giustamente ho fallito perché gli ho detto la risposta più sbagliata.
Nice.
Si butta su. Come ti permetti? La persona che ha fatto di più del male in questo universo. No.
Crying is good. That's actually very true. It's very true. We had a few other just small little
Quanto mi
details,
guarda
obviously,
si può
with the Final
fottere
Fantasy games, the
tantissimo.
Pixel Remastered. I'm personally looking forward to that. We had some mobile games as well. I love mobile gaming, so
I love mobile gaming,
all that
frase
good
detta da
stuff. But
nessuno.
one game that I
A parte sti
definitely will
imbecille
be
qua.
checking out, because I think it's about time I give it a try. It's Life is Strange. And our friends over at PC Gamer actually caught up with Christopher Sika, the game designer from Deck 9 Games, for an in-depth conversation about the narrative-driven adventure game. Let's check it out.
Same.
So obviously in True Colors, you've sort of gamified emotions to an extent where, you know, it's actually brought forward into part of the gameplay. What have you done to ensure that there's more subtle emotional impacts of the general story is still being retained?
So in order to do that, we have our town, Haven Springs, where our main character, Alex, is walking around, and she's able to interact with characters all over the town with a range of emotions from fear, sadness, joy, and anger. And the way we visualize this is through what we call emotional auras, which Alex can see around the characters.
Emotional
and then it also allows the player to do the psychic power of empathy to read the character's thoughts and emotions, which allows Alex to connect with them and have side storylines and more emotional connections with the characters.
So on that subject, actually, regarding the emotions and the connection Alex has with them, so in Before the Storm, sort of in contrast to the other two Life is Strange games, it's a much more grounded experience where you have the only vaguely supernatural element obviously was Chloe's visions of her father, but here you've really thrown yourselves into that Life is Strange element of more supernatural. So why did you decide that was the route to go?
Correct, yeah, this one is a much more in the supernatural element. When we first started talking about using the power of empathy, we felt that it needed to have a supernatural element to really allow the player to connect with the characters and also give Alex this extra element to use her power of empathy. And the best way to show this was to embrace the supernatural. I feel like it really follows the Life is Strange staple of having a beautiful setting and also this supernatural element.
So one thing that all of the Life is Strange games, including this one, have in common actually is the primary players are all teenagers. Was that a conscious decision on your part?
It was, but I think Alex is defined by a lot more than just her age. She's really a well-rounded character, but we wanted to have a strong female lead, someone that players could really connect with and relate with. And with her power of empathy, she's just a great character to connect with, and I'm really excited for fans to see her. I think she's going to quickly become a fan favorite.
Cioè pure questa si chiama Alex.
Is very important. What's your approach to this?
No, quella era
through
Max.
colours in terms
No,
of
okay,
is the good choice always clear?
Well, actually, I think that's an interesting question because one of the things we strive for is not always, labeling what is good and what is bad. I think, in Life is Strange, one of the things that fans really connect with is how dynamic the characters are. Characters have elements of good and bad, but we try to stray away from just a good character or an evil character. It's their choice and they can own it, not to be judged or feel like they made the evil choice or the bad choice.
Yeah. Going back to the issue of teenagers. So, I mean, I was generally speaking, a lot. You could say that during your teenage years, you're more emotionally volatile. Is that something that you're reflecting in the game at all? Because I have noticed what you've revealed so far. Although it's primarily teenage characters, there are some older characters as well. Is that reflected in the way the emotions work at all?
Well, it's interesting because Alex had a very, troubled childhood coming through the foster home. So even though she is a teenager, she's very mature for her age. She's been through a lot. So I think that, emotional volatile that you're talking about, we can actually see in characters of all ages. Even the adults she connects with, they're very volatile in their emotions. So we tried to have a more realistic approach that even though teenagers may be emotional volatile, even in our adulthood, we still feel those emotions and have a wide range.
I know you've previously spoken a little about how it's a more open game than anything else in the Life is Strange series so far. Any of these optional interactions, do any of those have any of those more impactful than the player might expect? Like a missable character or choice?
So the optional content we really wanted to keep as optional and missable. I think it will impact the user's experience as they might not
Facciamo una
be able to
partita a uno.
connect with these characters as much, but if you
Con
stay
quale
on
depressione me lo stai chiedendo?
Non so che altro fare, sai.
the key elements of the story.
Mancano ancora
All of the
mezz'oretta.
open spaces like you're
Potresti
talking about,
ballare,
just a way to
è
explore the
un'idea.
town, connect with the
Faccio il
people,
ballo
use the
di qua
power
qua.
more often.
Qua.
And it could, help as you go on, so you know more about the
Venite a
characters,
Napoli
but
che vi
you won't be
meno.
punished for missing any of this content.
Non ho
One thing
capito.
actually I've noticed with Life is Strange, with the Dontnod ones,
Tu
also
adesso
Before the
vieni a giocare
Storm,
qui
which also
a
sort
uno
of
con
really
me
captured,
e anche Costa.
it
Dai.
looks and
Definisci
sounds
vedo
tu
un
con
link.
chi stai
Non
parlando.
vedo un
Con
link.
te.
Is that intentional? And if it is, what does that mean
Te
for you?
chi?
How do you capture that?
Absolutely. I think we really try to capture the indie feel because that's the roots
Non
of
vedo
Life
un
is
link.
Strange. So for this title, True Colors, we
Allora
actually
che
worked
mi
with a lot
dici
of
via
indie
qua,
artists.
Viec?
So the music's a big element of it. And as
Quale
far as the
depressione lo
visuals, we
stai
did a lot of
chiedendo il
research
link tu
on,
invece?
mountain towns, being
Ma
out here
senti
in
chi
Colorado.
parla?
Non
We had a
vedo
lot of
il
inspiration,
link.
and so we really
Ci
tried to
sta.
capture that cinematic style and the music. It's a big pillar for what the game is.
Non vedo il link.
Lo vedi?
Non vedo il Zelda pure.
E chi se ne frega di Zelda,
Dio
Riccardo? Basta.
boia,
Chloe's character was
vaffanculo.
already established.
Sono
The ultimate
d'accordo.
ending, you know, we knew where it was going. But True Colors is your first.
Quindi puoi giocare a
Life is
Pizza
Strange
1
game with
online
all
con gli
of your
amici
own
gratuitamente.
characters.
Basta
You
che
have complete control over
devi...
the story.
Proprio come uno, ma meglio.
To help you prepare for that.
Yeah, that's a
Quale
great
faccia
question.
tosta
For
riesce
us,
che una
as
boiata del
before the
genere,
story, we
madonna.
did use the Chloe character, which was amazing. She
Con
was
la
a big
faccia delle
favorite of the
meme.
studio, but at its core,
La faccia
Before the Storm is
rogazza
about a
proprio.
story. It's about relationships, and so with True Colors, we approached it as
Lo
we
sta
wanted a
l'alto
story about
depresso.
empathy. We wanted a story about kindness.
Definisci
Un
l'alto
espresso
depresso.
So we really
depresso.
started with that as our core, and then we built these
Ah, come
characters around it.
Scrocchio.
But we really made sure that all the characters fit into the Life is Strange universe. Like I was saying earlier about dynamic characters, we wanted them to feel realistic and dynamic, and have players be able to have a connection with these characters.
Perfetto.
And then talking about connection, obviously there's a direct connection between Before the Storm and True Colors in terms of Steph.
Christopher Sica.
Dove sta la tua mona? Vieni qua!
Madonna, che coglione. Dammi il tempo di fare robe.
No!
Io...
Quando dico una cosa tu devi farla subito. Ok?
Se ne paghi pure pure.
No! È un dato di fatto, Davy.
Dato di fatto da chi?
No, ma c'è un doggo nello stream.
Da me.
Dammi,
Dov'è il doggo?
Dov'è il
Dov'è il
doggo?
doggo?
Si è
Dammi il
nascosto
doggo.
dietro la sedia, si è nascosto.
E chi se ne fotte della sedia? Fammi vedere il doggo. Leva sta faccia da culo, madonna.
È timido.
So it sounds like she'll be a bit more of a forefront then in this one than she was in Before the Storm.
You'll see a decent amount of stuff throughout the game.
So would I be right to assume that True
Vedo un bel po' di pop là sopra. Un po' troppo.
It will have multiple endings.
Un bel po' di puppe, cosa?
Pop, i Funko Pop.
Ah! Oddio, l'ho capita malissimo. L'ho
Dai,
capita
iniziamo,
malissimo.
Bru.
Ah! Ma sei ma come ti vuoi mettere il mio nome?
Ma non rompermi il cazzo. Non te lo
Ma non
prego.
rompere le palle tu. Ma no.
Yeah, c'è.
Will reflect the ending, but there's also an element of the relationships you build throughout the game, and how you'll see this
Okay.
Same.
Okay.
I think it's really important as players to build these connections.
Perché chicchirichi?
We didn't want a situation
Because yes, ok.
one decision dictates your
Mi ricorda una brutta persona il chicchirichi.
Perché?
Qualcuno che si era fissato col gallo.
What?
O col coniglio.
Col cock?
What?
Col cock.
Col gallo o col coniglio, dipende da come gli girava.
Beh,
Io so gallo.
Absolutely. So we have different tiers of using the power. There's the one I explained earlier when
dipende come gli girava. Io so che gli girava sempre bene per il cock. Poi boh. Se quel pensiero.
No.
No, stiamo a parlare di galli, sto a parlare pure di gallo.
No. No, ah, pure.
Rip indeed.
These characters' emotions, and she's able to go into this world that changes the environment and really gain more insight into what that character is going through. So she's able to explore the environment, she's able to look at objects, and all these objects relate to emotional connection
Cioè, prima rompi le scatole e dice giocate con me e poi non gioca lei, ha senso.
Zitto!
Molto...
Ci hai messo te quanti ore per arrivare, zitto? Guarda, sei proprio l'ultima persona
Perché
che può
sapevo
parlare.
che non avresti giocato con attenzione.
Shut
Io ti
the
conosco.
fuck up.
Io ti conosco ormai.
No, non mi conosci, ho anche vinto.
No, questo perché c'hai il simpone lì che ti aiuta ogni 2 secondi.
Ah, oddio no, questo me lo devo raccontare. Ci sta Omega che dice che entrambi siete miei simp.
Già la sappiamo,
Aspetta, aspetta.
I'm really excited for players to see her. She's just such an inspiration.
Mamma mia.
And then also to be able to use
Tutto
this
per
power
una
empathy
scusa,
and hopefully,
una cosa
allow
non
people to take
vera.
a step back in their life and
Ma
see
tutto
others
perché è un
as well.
imbecille del cazzo. quello.
Tra l'altro.
This will be the first Life is Strange
Le mo.
game to be released as a complete package all at once. But it's still split into episodes, is that right?
Yes, that's correct. So there will be 5 chapters, as we're calling them right now, but they will all be released together.
Is there anything that you've done in True Colors that you weren't able to do in Before the Storm?
I think for us in True Colors, really embracing the supernatural element, like you mentioned, this was a big thing for us, that we're able to now have a longer game, a longer experience, and add more of these power elements in, which I think the team is really excited about. Also the locations.
Perché c'è la fissazione di cambiare i cazzo di colori di merda, Cristo.
Just focusing on one town and one location that we could really make into this dynamic place that it feels like you're haven as you're playing.
Ma io volevo giocare!
No.
What was the process to
Barbie
finally
ha detto
deciding that was what would be the center of the game, like empathy and emotions?
Yeah, so I think it was
Basta sto microfono del cazzo. Oh.
You know, like I was saying, we really wanted to tell the story about kindness and connection. And as we were exploring that, we realized we had to have more gameplay elements to the power than just to have this.
Ma che due palle! Ma dai!
Mi rompi i coglioni di proporzioni astronomiche, devo dire.
Vuoi questo? Vuoi questo allora? Che
Quanti te ne stanno uscite quelle merde?
Nelle Mao, ti dico.
Scusa, bro, lo faccio a fin di bene.
No, questo non è a fin di bene. Traditore.
Pure io lo faccio
Credimi.
a fin di bene.
Ma
Ti suggerisco di cambiare il giro appena puoi.
se avessi il colore giusto, sarebbe anche un'idea.
Già, che lo dici?
Around that, what have you done to try and really flesh out and build this character that's, you know, going to be with the player from start to finish?
Yeah, well, I think with Alex what makes her so strong.
Diventa talmente lazy che ormai manco si mette il nome.
No, l'ho dovuto scrivere username del giocatore, quindi
uguale.
Ho pure fatto fatica per dirti.
Grande.
Tutto tuo. Vai avanti, vai avanti.
Sei contento adesso?
No, vaffanculo.
Ma vaffanculo tu.
E non c'avevo nient'altro, che devo fare?
Avrei potuto cambiare il colore.
E non ce l'ho il colore.
Ce l'avevo io.
E non, no, non.
Le meme c'avevi tu.
Vai Ponzi, vai Ponzi, vai Ponzi, Ponzi, vai Ponzi, vai Ponzi.
So again, was that a conscious decision? And either way, how do you think that?
Dai, ma che pizza, non c'ho i colori giusti. Ah, pure. E io dico di no.
Grande.
Ma no.
Quante cazzo di volte l'ha vinta così una cazzo di partita? Quante cazzo di volte l'ha vinta così?
Si chiama strategia, si chiama.
Si chiama culo, cioè un culo astronomico.
Oh, diglielo.
Dici così perché stai a rosicare.
Oggi così, vincere il cazzo di cane.
Vai.
Come si dovrebbe vincere? No, insisto.
Hai fatto una brutta... Ok. Eccetto che adesso non posso fare quella cosa.
Però per cortesia. Mi capite questo.
Continua a non poter fare quella cosa.
E allora non la farai più.
E nemmeno tu.
E nemmeno tu.
That's right, folks. $100. Now, so make
sure you guys do that, follow the prompts here,
and you'll be a Gucci
No.
So, we've had some pretty awesome moments already
from
this year's E3.
mi sono fottuta da sola però.
Complimenti. Barbecue, non si fanno queste cose. Non si fanno queste cose.
No!
Vedi che barbecue è messo bene.
Non fallo vincere, no! No, non fallo... Ok.
Wow, non aveva il colore o il numero giusto. Cos'è sto miracolo? Ah.
Vai avanti, vai avanti, vai avanti, avanti, vai avanti, vai avanti, avanti,
Body chills. It was such like a really incredible moment for me. It was like one of my first jobs away from like waiting tables. It was like one of my first real moments where I was
Oh,
like,
ce l'ho io a quanto pare a sto giro. Incredibile.
covering pop culture and the stuff that I love.
Ho ucciso tutti.
Come che si vince a cazzo di cane, si vince.
Già, si vince a cazzo di cane. Che così ho vinto, a cazzo di cane. Bru è morto. Non sto parlando più.
Sometimes not all of your dreams can come true. In that case, it was sadly dashed upon the rocky shores of reality and development.
Ah, sei proprio mutata.
Uff.
Si vede un po' parlare.
No, no, non dovevi fare questo però.
A boy can dream. A boy can dream. Boys and girls can dream.
Allora lo faccio.
Mine is probably a little bit more evil, so boys and girls, do not try this at home. But basically, well, I snuck into my first E3.
Oh gosh,
So I was maybe 17, 18 years old, and I came as a media partner for my high school newspaper. Totally legitimate, wasn't in high school anymore at that point, but I will never forget them, for some reason, handing me the badge, putting the
No, qui vado a finire male.
walking into the convention hall and just looking up all around me at all of the different booths.
Yeah.
And like seeing like the big Nintendo booth, and then I think there was like Persona 4 Dancing All Night being displayed or something, right? And then just having like Teddy going over here,
Sono
like,
fatto Dancing All Night.
I'm like, okay. That was probably like my absolute favorite memory of just being in shock and awe that I was there.
Vai avanti, vai avanti, vai avanti, avanti, vai.
I found E3
Bentornato.
like, hey Ash, what you playing? They did like a vlog there, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm here. This is it.
Yeah.
Grazie,
Well, we don't
very
have
cool.
time, but, Michael, what about for you?
I grew up watching GameSpot, and I had a 2004 GameSpot DVD where they went around E3. I'm like, damn, it'd be nice to be there. 2017 was my first E3, and I did it for GameSpot, so I bust up in, and I'm like, yo, this is wild.
Cazzo.
It's wild to like collaborate with the Giant Bomb folks, because like we see
Ah no. Oh. Aspettavo che la mettesse, invece a quanto pare no.
Che la mettesse dentro.
Ora non la mette di sicuro. Come l'ha messa dentro?
Beh, visto che già le ho giocate, posso metterlo già adesso lo screenshot. Si meva forte.
Che cagata. Nice.
Che schifo.
Che cagata.
Mi devi mutare.
Before we throw to our next segment, I did want to say my quick E3 story. I commentated a major
oh, ma il cazzo, dai. Niente, oh.
Un 5 o una carta blu è troppo da chiedere? O una nera anche.
No, questo non è tu. Madonna, che eccesso.
Stiamo pescando tutti. Stiamo pescando tutti.
Sì. Oh, e
stiamo pescando tutti. Continua. Oh. Yeah, bye.
Yeah,
I can tell you growing up, E3 was like the holy grail, right? Like that was.
Però vedi che sei uno stronzo.
Non prendertela con me, è l'unica carta che è uscita dopo ore e ore e ore e ore e ore. E sai che ti dico, schifo pure a lui.
Ora.
Midway gay like basketball game.
Dai, ho già finito, quello è il bel...
Where they introduced the Dreamcast.
I was in awe.
Ma no, ma non il blu, mannaggia, che non gli possiamo fare niente.
Dipinto di blu, felice di stare qua su.
Manco tanto però.
Volando. Na 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 na. Na 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 na.
Cazzo. Cazzo.
Yabai, yabai.
Meraviglia.
Yabai, 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 yabai. Big yabai, big yabai. Big yabai. Questo sì che è un yabai.
Yabai.
It was just so
Quello che ho detto
surreal
anch'io.
to walk in and see something that I've been watching for so long, and it's
Ma
there,
poi
it's in front of me.
Le mau.
Yabai.
Lei voleva, capito?
I love the panels. I loved walking on
Ma non è che gli do soddisfazione pure a te, le mau.
Ma
Big
poi
yabai, big yabai, big
ma
yabai.
vedi che sei...
Same.
Grazie per Leslie. Dai.
E dai! Che pizza!
Che pizzuno.
No, non fai ste battute!
Troppo tardi.
Ti odio.
Ciotto a te.
Ciotto Matte! 10 minuti e parte quello finalmente. Ciotto Matte! Ah, di certo non sarà per me.
Di certo.
Però devi per forza mettere blu, vero?
Sì.
Le mau.
Take it away, Stella.
Toh.
Nit.
Not.
No.
Nit.
Ti piace questo allora? No.
Yes.
No, ho cambiato idea, dai, ho cambiato idea.
Ponzi, ponzi, po.
Vaffanculo.
Ponzi, vaffanculo. Wow, il gioco di Avatar again. Oh, oh, oh.
No,
Ma stanno sfruttando il nome di Avatar perché mo deve uscire il secondo, che palle.
Cazzo, Mafia Works.
Festival della pescata è tornato.
Le ciglia di questa mi irritano un fottio, devo dire.
Vabbè sì, ma che cazzo va.